Welcome back to Newsmaker Live. Thank you very much for staying tuned. And now it's your turn. We're taking your calls on this program as we continue our discussion with Mr. Edwin St. Catherine, the Director of Statistics in St. Lucia. And I don't want to put you on the spot,
Right.
but I know, you know, in your 20 years, I've known you probably more than 20 years, well, a lot longer than 20 years. You also participate in, you know, in regional statistical programs, and you lead regional agencies as well. So probably just a brief idea of other activities you're involved in.
Okay. Yeah, well, I have been on the advisory group to CARICOM, right, for, you know, from the time the advisory group was set up. I have chaired one or two UN expert groups on various matters, like, for example, the demographic yearbook. I chaired, you know, that group. I participated on the expert group that formulated the principles and recommendations for the 2010 census.
So I mean, you're no slouch when it comes to statistics. So in other words, you know, you're worth your salt. You know your job. You know your business when it comes to stuff.
Well, I do try my best to learn the processes and the procedures, you know, internationally, and
well,
spend a lot of time with that.
You wouldn't say that, but
I love statistics.
I would.
I love statistics.
You wouldn't say it because
numbers.
you're a humble guy, but I would say it. You know, so you're no slouch. You know your stuff, and with that much experience and background in it, you would, by now you should know where your goings in and comings out.
Yeah.
We have a call on the line. Good evening, caller. Thank you for holding. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good night, Clinton.
Good night, sir.
Good
Good
night.
night to you guys.
Good night.
All right, it looks like only now, out of the blue, this whole thing is coming to surface
Right.
about the 4.4 growth, which is now saying that is a lie. Now I'm saying it has been said for almost 9 months or a little more. Why is now only that this thing needs to be addressed, especially it came out in the budget, and the Director of Statistics is now almost on every show trying to clear the air. My question is, if it was the same government that was in power, would that have been going on right now? Or is it because of a new government, it looks like he is singing for his bread or his supper? I'll listen to you all right.
Thank you. It's a fair question. I mean,
Okay.
and I'll allow you to answer the question.
Okay. I just want to address that last part. You know, singing for my supper and so on.
Yeah, I overlooked that part.
Yeah, because because it's something. It's a comment that's made often by people, and it's made in the context that, you know, why is this coming up now and so on. I think you heard from Dr. Anthony that he's had problems with statistical information that he's received. There are times when a prime minister will not be confident or not look. The statistics may not make them look favorable. He's had issues with us, and the issues maybe it could be that you know, it was his interpretation or whatever it was. Okay, but the thing is that statistical offices that do their job are not supposed to be there to please any one political party or the other, right? We use a set of principles. It's that same principle that was used to generate the 4.4 is the same process that is used now to generate the 0.59, what I explained was that it's the data source that was the issue. And we are talking now about a revised number for 2010. The number has been revised based on the same process. And it's really important. Sometimes when I speak, people don't make the distinction between the number and the process. The process and the methodology must be preserved over time so that whatever government it is, it does not matter. It's the process. Once the process is maintained, the methodology for computing the number is the same, then that result should not be affected by political and other considerations. Obviously, a party or a political party or an individual may choose to use the number in a specific way. That is not in our control. We can't control that, right? But we must always ensure that we use the same process each year. It's just like the computation of unemployment. We define an unemployed person as a person who is, one, seeking work, who wants work, who is available for work. The seeking work is with a specific time reference, and the availability criterion is also used. Okay? And if you're not available or if you're not seeking work, then why you're not seeking? And we have a set criteria by which we include a discouraged worker in the generation of the unemployment rate. So, you know, the process is clear.
Yeah, and
right? And it's applied every year. Okay? But when you have a peculiar situation like GDP that summarizes data sources, then you really do rely on them. And you have to constantly work with them to ensure that, you know, nothing, especially an unusual situation like this, does not occur.
I have a question. I have a question to ask you about that, but we have a call on the line. Please go ahead, caller. Thanks for holding.
Yes, Clinton. There are only two things that trouble my mind and have troubled my mind since last year.
Okay.
The first is, why was the opposition then so cocksure that 4.4 was not the correct figure? They seem very confident. That has always troubled me, and it's interesting that it should be coming out now that they were in fact correct. So this is to me a very interesting situation. And secondly, was someone in the Ministry of Finance, when King was Prime Minister, did someone in finance have a middle finger up for King? You don't have to answer, but these are things that trouble me, and if between you and your guest you can throw some light on that, I'll be happy, because I heard your guest say a while ago that he sent the information to the Ministry of Finance. It would be interesting to discover
to the Ministry of Finance, not the Minister.
Ministry.
Yeah.
Ministry.
Yes.
Not Minister. Ministry.
No, I did not say Minister.
I am saying
yes.
It would be interesting to discover whether that information was in fact passed on to the Minister of Finance.
Right.
But the thing that has really troubled me is that the Labour Party in opposition was 100% cocksure that the figures were incorrect. How could they have known that? And the Prime Minister of the day could not have known.
Thanks a lot, caller.
In terms of that specific question, I obviously I don't know how to answer it. Okay, because I don't know. The Prime Minister certainly requested the letter, and I wrote it to the ministry, and obviously whatever information he received based on the letter that I wrote was obviously there must have been miscommunication, but it appears to me that he may have been misled. I'm not really sure exactly what happened.
Well, I think
I cannot really answer that question very well.
I can't answer either, but I am also assuming, I'm just assuming on this one, that given the trend in the region with the figures, the growth figures for other islands, and globally,
yes,
that it would be difficult to accept a 4.4% growth rate for St. Lucia.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming that, so that might be an explanation. But we have a
Yeah.
call. Go ahead, caller. Please go ahead with your contribution. Hello.
And Mrs. Catherine?
Can
you hear me?
yes,
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
I'm hearing
Can you
you.
hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good evening, Clinton and Mrs. Catherine.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
evening.
a question I need to ask. I don't think anywhere in the political campaign, Dr. Anthony basically made a statement that the growth rate was actually 1 point something. I don't think that was ever said. He disputed the 4 point something. He said
Right.
that it cannot be because he was feeling the pressures on the ground, and the political party itself conducted its own surveys to look at the standard of living and everything to that effect.
Well,
The
the
other thing was-
unemployment figure itself was also indicating that.
Right. And
Yes.
Mr. Gaston, I need to answer something here.
Yeah.
Was that the method that was used this time around to calculate in terms of before the elections?
Right.
Was that the same figure that was used? Or was that the same method that was
Same
used in the
method.
rain?
Same method. The source, however, it's clearer now that the source is stable. The custom source. There are many less issues with Assicuda World. The characteristics of the fields of information that we receive and all of that. These matters have been cleared up. So we use the same process,
Yeah.
and we now get the result that we have. It affected, if you look at the GDP now, the sectors that were really affected by this was construction. Construction moved from a magnitude of showing an increase of almost 20% to a decline actually of almost 9%. And then there
That's
was
a 29
wholesale.
point
Yeah, it was
switch,
quite a big swing, and that was an issue with our connectivity. The quality of our connectivity with customs. It was an unstable situation. I was very apprehensive about it.
And let me ask you a question.
Yes.
I get out to my final question.
Okay.
When the letter was written
Yes.
to the Prime Minister,
I did not write
to the
Prime
Ministry of
Minister.
Finance. Let's
okay,
make
the
sure we get that
ministry-
straight.
To the Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
What can you walk us through the process of actually writing the letter to the ministry and who was supposed to have received it and the next step?
I don't want to walk through. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to walk through that process.
Thanks, caller.
I don't want to walk through that process
And
in detail.
yeah, and I
because
appreciate that
these
because
are
you're a public
internal-
servant, and
These
yeah,
are
it's-
internal issues
it's internal.
within the ministry.
But we're due for a break, so let's take a quick break. We know we have a call coming through, so caller, if you can just hold. As soon as we come back from this break, we'll take your call. You're watching Newsmaker Live. Our very special guest, Director of Statistics, Mr. Edwin St. Catherine. Stay with us. We'll be right back.